Welcome, Ruskin.
Thanks so much, Diane. It's been an honor to work alongside you for the last 2 years as we work to build and strengthen the organization. And I just wanted to start by saying it is so inspiring to see all the names of the people from coming in from around the world, some morning, some evening, some middle of the night, and many new names and a lot of old familiar names. So thank you for coming back and joining us. I'm just going to spend a few minutes at the start sort of setting the stage for what's going to come over the next few years, over the next 24 hours as we celebrate our work together under one sky. I want to just say a huge thank you both to the people who who are attending, but also to the many of you who made additional donation that enables us to put on conferences like this and keep it free so we can get as many people involved as possible. I recently returned from the Czech Republic, where I participated in a Europe-wide conference about light pollution. You can hear more of that on our policy panel later during the conference, and hear the efforts that are underway to take light pollution forward as an issue of concern across that great continent. Those of you who have been to Prague might recognize this. This is actually one of the great astronomical clocks in the world. I believe it's the oldest one that is still working. And every hour when it goes off, it draws crowds from across the city who come in awe, looking at this incredible timepiece that's telling time. What struck me is if you look up above it, up above the astronomical clock is a deep blue background studded with stars. And in fact, if you come back to Old Square late at night, that really is the only place you will see stars anymore, because the square, despite the fact that maybe the floodlights are off the building these days to save energy, the square is lit up by these globe lights that you can see are pumping so much light into the sky. And really, as a reminder, this is Brussels, probably one of the brightest spots on the planet. Really, our march of progress, our march of civilization, that in many ways is symbolized by the light bulb, the symbol of innovation and ideas, has really led to a loss of the night sky across large areas of the world. Yeah, this is probably, so many of you know this so well, but I just want to start by just a reminder that light pollution really is a global issue. That's why it's so exciting that we're able to bring together advocates from around the world to have a conversation, inspire each other about what's going on. 83% of people around the world live under a light polluted sky, and those of us in Europe and North America, 99% of us live under light polluted skies. And again, as many of you know, it is also growing globally. It's growing rapidly. Over the last 25 years, it's grown by at least 49%, and that is a conservative estimate. It's more likely doubled in most locations and increased by 400% in some areas. This is some great work from one of our board members, Alejandro, who will actually be leaving the board after 6 years service at the end of this year. And of course, it impacts everything we care about. It impacts people. We're going to hear from Lisa about this in a little bit. It impacts plants. It impacts pollinators. It impacts protected areas. I was looking at some statistics here. We think there's a great drive at the moment to protect 30% of the planet as protected areas, as conservation lands, but some studies and research that's going on that says well over 50% of the protected areas on the planet are protected on the map. They're protected maybe from development, but 50% of those are not protected from light pollution. At least 50% of the protected areas on the planet have the footprint of light pollution bleeding into those, impacting everything that lives there. Clearly, it impacts culture and heritage. We have, really part of what makes us human is our connection to the stars, our connection to the sky. It's really inspired great works of art, great works of obviously astronomy and mathematics, and really we're losing that. We're being robbed of that cultural heritage connection to the stars. And energy and use and climate change. When I was in Europe, I was able to share some recent work from Alejandro again, who'd estimated just in the continent of Europe, they waste 38 terawatt hours each year in energy to light up the night sky at a cost. A conservative estimate is at least 10 billion euros. Again, conservative estimate globally from the same source, we are wasting $50 billion US a year just to light up the night sky. just briefly, it's just remind what is light pollution. It's sky glow. It's the impact that's felt from hundreds of miles. That you can see the light dome of Las Vegas 150 miles away in the heart of Death Valley. Closer to home, it's spill light, it's light trespass, it's the light from the street light shining into your child's bedroom at night, meaning that they can't get up in the morning and be rested and be ready to learn. It's glare, it's the bright, very intense lights that are blinding us, literally causing us to turn away. And as we discussed last year, Aparna gave a wonderful presentation about one of the new threats here. This is the sort of threat of space-based light pollution. We're not going to talk very much about that over the next 24 hours, but just to say it is a real threat. It is fast emerging, and the recent estimates that I was looking at, the next issue of the Starlink satellites are projected to have something like 76 times the impact on the night sky as the ones that are already flying around. I wanted to share this one graph because this really sets up the conversation. Lisa's going to share those later. And this is really a wonderful chart from our friends in the Institute in Leipzig Institute in Germany that really shows the day-night cycle. It shows just how bright it is during the day and just how dark the night is. And I wanted you take a look at that. 0.01 lux, that's a very, very small amount of light. That light, that's essentially natural darkness. Think about that in contrast to maybe a well-designed streetlight that's putting out maybe 1 lux, maybe 10 lux. That's orders of magnitude more light, which is having a very significant impact, again, on all living things. What we like to say at the International Dark Sky Association is everyone deserves quality lighting and access to darkness. This is not making a choice about one or the other. It is figuring out how we can protect darkness, how we can use that to thrive, and also how we can have quality lighting to meet our needs. A couple of years ago, we developed the principles for responsible lighting that are really starting to get a lot of traction in the broad industry. You're going to see more of that coming out later this year. Remember, start with natural darkness. Add light where you need it, when it's needed. Think, is it useful? What purpose is it serving? Is it targeted? Is it on the entranceway that you need to access to? Or is it pointing up in the sky where it's doing no one any good? Think about lower intensities. Lower intensities actually is better in many instances. Think about using controls, having it on when you need it, dimming it down when there's fewer people around, and turning it off when people have left the area. And thinking, of course, about using those warmer, richer, warmer colored lights where possible, and limiting your use of the shorter wavelength where you need color rendering, or maybe you need it for other purposes. And really, so this is our framework. Again, it's not about turning off all the lights and plunging the world into medieval darkness. It's really about thinking about how we can protect darkness and use light where we need it. As Diane mentioned, with your help, the help of and work of all of the advocates around the world, it has been a remarkable year. We have now more than 200 certified international dark sky plaques on every continent apart from Antarctica. We have 42 countries in the Dark Sky Network. They're growing. There's countries coming on every year. We now have 24 countries with Dark Sky approved light. So I want to just note that we've had 15 new countries join our Dark Sky Light Approval Program just this year. And for many of you, love the State of the Science report that we put out at the start of the year. And you can see that the reach that we're having is growing. You reached more than 1 million people during Dark Sky Week this year. We are able to share thousands of news stories reporting on your successes. And we had 26 states and cities, municipalities announced that it'd be a Dark Sky Week, really helping raise awareness of this issue of the value of natural darkness. And the number I wanted to end with is it's really so exciting to see the rich diversity of this work going on around the world, but also at the same time know that we truly are one global dark sky movement. There are great opportunities for you to act now. You've taken a first great step by just joining us for this conference. We hope you learn through this. We hope you get inspired from this. As Kelly will talk later, we have a great series of engagement workshops for all of you. Opportunities to act. If you're not part of our Dark Sky Advocacy Network, we hope you'll come on board and support that. There'll be more information about that as we go on through the conference. And we really critically, we hope that you will share your learnings, your progress, maybe some of the mistakes and what you've learned from them, and critically, your results, so that we can help amplify the work of this movement.